Hi, everyone. Welcome back to our channel. I'm Emma.
And I'm John. It's great to have you here with us today.
Today, we're going to talk about something really interesting, the benefits of traveling. John, do you enjoy traveling?
Absolutely, Emma. I think traveling is one of the best ways to learn about the world.
I agree. You get to experience new cultures, try different foods, and meet interesting people. Speaking of cultures, what's a culture that has surprised you the most?
That's a tough one. I'd say Japanese culture. The level of politeness and the way people respect each other is quite unique.
Politeness? Can you explain what you mean by that?
Sure. Politeness means being respectful and considerate of other people's feelings. In Japan, people often bow when they greet each other, which shows respect.
That's fascinating. I've heard that in some cultures, people greet each other with a kiss on the cheek. Have you experienced that?
Yes, in many European countries like France and Italy, it's common to greet friends and family with a kiss on both cheeks. It's a way of showing affection.
Affection? What does that mean?
Affection means a feeling of love or liking for someone. It's like when you hug your friend to show you care about them.
Oh, I see. Speaking of affection, what's the most affectionate place you've visited?
I'd say Italy. People there are very warm and friendly. They're always ready to share a meal with you and make you feel at home.
That sounds wonderful. Speaking of meals, what's the strangest food you've tried while traveling?
That's a good question. I once tried fermented shark in Iceland. It's a traditional dish, but it has a very strong taste.
Fermented? What does that mean?
Fermented means that the food has been preserved and broken down by bacteria, yeast, or other microorganisms. It changes the flavor and texture of the food.
Interesting. I don't think I'd be brave enough to try that, but trying new foods is definitely a big part of traveling. Do you have any tips for people who want to travel but are on a budget?
Yes, definitely. One tip is to look for cheap flights and accommodation online. There are many websites that offer great deals. Also, try to travel during the off-season when prices are lower.
Off-season? What does that mean?
Off-season means the time of year when there are fewer tourists and prices for flights and hotels are usually cheaper. For example, traveling to Europe in the winter can be much cheaper than in the summer.
That's a great tip. Another tip I have is to use public transportation instead of taxis. It's often much cheaper, and you get to see more of the city.
Absolutely. And don't forget to try street food. It's usually delicious and inexpensive.
Inexpensive? Can you explain that?
Inexpensive means something that doesn't cost a lot of money. It's the opposite of expensive.
Got it. So, do you have any memorable travel stories you'd like to share?
Oh, many. But one of my favorites is when I got lost in Venice. The city is like a maze with all its narrow streets and canals. But getting lost led me to discover some amazing hidden spots.
That sounds like an adventure. Maze and canals? Can you explain those words?
Sure. A maze is like a puzzle made of paths and walls where you can easily get lost. Canals are man-made waterways where boats can travel. Venice is famous for its canals instead of streets.
That's so cool. Getting lost can sometimes lead to the best experiences. Now, let's do a quick review. I'll ask you a few questions about what we talked about today.
Sure, go ahead.
First, what does politeness mean?
Politeness means being respectful and considerate of other people's feelings.
Correct? Next, can you explain what affection means?
Affection is a feeling of love or liking for someone.
Great. What about fermented?
Fermented means that food has been preserved and broken down by bacteria, yeast, or other microorganisms, which changes its flavor and texture.
Exactly. What is the off-season?
Off-season is the time of year when there are fewer tourists and prices for flights and hotels are usually cheaper.
Perfect. And what does inexpensive mean?
Inexpensive means something that doesn't cost a lot of money.
Right. Last question. Can you explain what a maze and canals are?
A maze is like a puzzle made of paths and walls where you can easily get lost. Canals are man-made waterways where boats can travel.
Excellent, John. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for sharing your travel stories with us.
My pleasure, Emma. I hope our listeners found it helpful and inspiring.
Me too. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more interesting conversations. Until next time, happy traveling. And remember, all the new words we learned today can be found in the description box on YouTube. Don't forget to check it out.